Yo, Grim here. So I have a Ursarctic deck profile with me. It's honestly a deck I just love. The whole the way it plays everything is really cool to me. This is a bit different than how most Ursarctic profiles are. So there isn't many around. So when I was constructing the deck, of course I tried the different variants. Uh, So basically, nearly every Arctic deck that I found ran righty and lefty driver because they're really easy to just so on one you get the other one, and then you make a Polari straight away from that. So the whole gimmick of the deck is that instead of making the synchro number requirement using monsters you control that equal that level, you do it so you have the difference of the levels instead. So he's a level 7. So he requires a difference of 7 in their levels. So a level 8 tuner and a level 1 non-tuner would make him, for example. And then the other one, which is Polari, is a 1. So it needs a level 1 difference. It's the only synchros in the game that are level 1 is in this deck. But yeah, I'll just get into the main deck. So pretty much they all tribute as cost a level 5 or higher monster. No, level 7 or higher monster, sorry, from your hand, and you special summon them. That's a quick effect during the main phase, and all the Sarctic get effect. So I run 2 Sarctic Megabilis. So we have our Megas, they're like the Mega versions of the other Sarctics, and they are level 8 tuners. So these are what gonna pretty much get access into the synchros. So I run 2 Megabilis. He is a DD Crow. When he's summoned, he toggles card in your opponent's grave and banishes it. So you only need 2 of them though. Like his effect on field isn't that great, but he's got good attack. Again, I think 2 is plenty though. You don't really need more than 2. I run 2 Polar. I sometimes consider bumping him up to 3. He is really good. So he's like an MST when he's summoned. They all have the same effect at first, which is to tribute 7 or higher to summon them. And then you can't summon monsters that don't have a level for the rest of the turn. So they always have to be monsters with levels you summon for the rest of that turn. But yeah, so he's just a spell trap pop. 2 of him, pretty nice. And then I run triple Mega Tannis. So he is a Book of Moon on summon. So he's the better one out of the 3, which is why I max out on him instead. But he is the lowest attack. But I definitely have liked him at 3, and I don't think I'd put him down to 2 or 1 or anything like that. So this ratio has been really nice, which is 7 of the big ones. Onto the actual little Ursarctics, I run triple Alpha. So he's a new one. He's a Drytron Ursarctic. And pretty much he has an effect in hand if you control an Ursarctic monster or a Drytron, but the Drytron's irrelevant. You can special summon them from your hand, then you add a spell trap, like a Drytron or an Ursarctic spell trap from your deck to your hand. He's really good. Like, you want to max out on him, you want to see him. He does a lot for your deck. He's a searcher for your spell and traps. He's a summon, and he's level 7 non-tuner. So him and this would make a Polari or a Polar Star. But yeah, overall, definitely 3 of him. He's one of the better ones for sure. Triple Polar. So Polar again is they all again tribute level 7 or higher with this one. He's the only one that doesn't do that. Alpha, he doesn't tribute 7 or higher. He just has his own effect to summon without negating a card from your hand. This summons, then its effect triggers and adds a Circlic monster from your deck to your hand. So it's a searcher for monsters. Definitely run 3 of it. I run 2 Mictanus. I have been tempted to put this up to 3 a couple times, because you tribute 1, you summon it, then it targets a Sarctic in your grave and adds it to your hand. So in that sense, you don't even tribute to summon it, it just summons someone's hand for free. But I've enjoyed 2 so far. I think I'm quite content keeping it at 2. And then the last one is 1 McBillis. McBillis is probably the worst. It's nice in the sense that you get free stuff from your hand, but it's very situational. You don't need more than 1 of it. Again, it does the same things, and then when it's special summoned, you can special summon one Ursarctic monster from your hand. The best thing about this is if you summon it via any other way than its effect, then you get a free summon from your hand. That's kind of the only good thing about it, but it's situational, so it's only a one-off in my opinion. So I don't run lefty and driver and righty, and the reason I don't run them is because I run this package instead, which is the adventure package. So of course, the adventure package will lock you out of using effects of normal summon monsters, which would include the drive package. So I had to choose one of the two. I chose the adventure package over it, and it's been far superior in every way. Like if you hard draw the drivey stuff, you contribute them as cost for your Sarctic. They're just dead sometimes. Unless you discard them with departure. But discarding an enchantress with a departure is just like much more value in my opinion. And Griffin and Legal can be tributed off to summon your Sarctics. There's a bit of synergy as well with them. Like you could illegal knight someone and then use, then if they special summon something, you can use Big Dipper to take control of the illegal knight again. Really, really good card. So yeah, definitely triple enchantress, and then one Griffin, one illegal. Again, if you dead draw them, you can either summon them or you can just tribute them as cost and get them out your hand. So there's no real harm in them. And then I run triple Fen. So it's level 7 or higher monster. It's got a really good effect on field. And it searches another one of it. I considered running like a Kashtira engine at some point. If I ever wanted to make like Cash as Arctic, sure, I'd take out the adventure package maybe. Because there's not enough space for it. But apart from that, like triple Fen in my opinion is kind of like a staple in this deck. Like it just searches his level 7 or highest for you to tribute off, and it's such a good card on field. Just extra disruption. So now I run one Riot Dragon and one Golden Lord. Bit weird. So Riot Dragon's affecting grave targets a bowl monster or a rocket. Then you destroy a card on your field, and then you add it back to your hand. So it can target itself pretty much. The idea is you tribute its cost, you send it to grave, and then your spell card Radiation, once it's ran out of the 7 counters, it just sits there on your field dead. But you can only control one Radiation, which means you can't use another one until you get rid of that one, which is what these two are for. Golden Lord is the superior one out of the two. Riot Dragon adds back to your hand and you don't really ever summon it, so it's just free tribute fodder in that context. It can kind of help as well if like you've been Book of Eclipse or Dust Deviled and you've got too many monsters on your field, which happens. He can kind of just like clear up a slot, add himself back to your hand. Cool. And then you contribute him off for another Sarctic. So definitely one of him. I've loved running one of him. A lot of the profiles like either one, not both of them. But Golden Lord actually gets summoned often for me. Like, I'll send something, I'll send Radiation, add him back to hand, summon him to my field. He's a 3/5 monster that can't be destroyed by card effects. Like, it's honestly just really helpful. He outs a lot of problem cards. Yeah, them two are fantastic. So that's what I run for monsters. And then for spells, I run triple Radiation. So this is basically I draw 7 cards. It's fantastic. You definitely want to run 3 of it. If you hard draw it, great. If you don't hard draw it, you can search it. There's nothing really else to say about it. It's crazy. Triple Departure. This is really good as well. You discard a card, add 2 Sarctis from your deck to your hand. Except turn it sent to the grave, you can banish it instead of tributing for an Ursarctic. Went all blurry then. But for sure, this is like definitely a 3 of. You definitely want to run 3 at Departure. And then I run 1 Slider. So Slider is like, it's a decent card, but you don't really need more than one. It's situational. It's like it reborns an Ursarctic from your grave where you're banished, which is like, it's nice that the banished option is there, but you don't need more than one. It just doesn't come up, and it's a bit of a dead draw sometimes. One Big Dipper. So Big Dipper, you can activate directly from your deck with Polari. You don't need more than one, in my opinion. A lot of people just target it, though, because it's a good field spell. So every time a monster special somebody gets a counter, then if you have a synchro on your field, well, on the field, I've had this, someone took control of my Serpentine because they wanted to link it off. Special summoned a Parallel monster. I used the effect of Big Dipper, and they were like, well, you can't do that, you don't have a synchro. I was like, well, it's actually just on the field. Took control of my Serpentine again, and then they couldn't play because Serpentine was made a Polaris Star, and pretty much couldn't use any extra stuff to out it. But yeah, Big Dip is really good, really nice. But it's searchable. You don't need more than one. It's like once you get it on your board, if you drew another one, it's just in your hand, unless they've outward D first. Triple right, just Adventure Engine. You want to max out on that. You want to see it. The Griffin Rider's just such a good card. One Fateful, same. You need more than one at search, but you activate from deck. They get rid of it. Boo hoo. One Draco back, same sort of context. It gets rid of it. It just happens. And then one Quint Charge. This is a really good card, but it's only a one-off. Helps you like when you're going first, just to potentially summon out your Grand Chariot in their turn. Onto extra deck. So I run. We'll go from backwards to forwards, so synchros the last. So for link monsters, we're on one area, one Soldier Chaos, and one Underworld Goddess. Honestly, you could run anything for link monsters if you wanted to, SP lights, whatever. You can only get into these if you don't summon the Ursarctics first. So you can summon them in your opponent's main phase, for example. They stay on your field, hit your turn, link them off, and then after you finish your link stuff, start doing your Ursarctic plays again. Because it's for the rest of the turn, not the turn. They're all waters, so area just kind of made sense to me. Soldier Chaos are all level 7 or higher monsters. They're all big monsters. Made sense to me as well. And then Underworld Goddess, you spam the board. So it's really easy to get access into that monster. But again, you could run anything for those 3 slots. A rank 7 Zeus engine is probably a good one, because I run a rank 8 Zeus engine instead, which is a little bit more difficult to get into, I think, than a 7. There are more 7s in that deck, but the 8 one, in my opinion, was just like the nicer looking one, so I chose to use that, which is Lancelot, Pain Gain, and Zeus. Yeah, definitely really good. Zeus is just like a game-winning card. And then onto Synchros, 2 Polar Star. You don't need more than 2. You need 2, though. You don't want to run 1, because if it's gone and you don't have access to it again, it's like, oh, well, shit. That's unfortunate. But definitely you need to use 2, in my opinion. It's 2 for each Ursarctic Synchro monster. If I ran the the righty and lefty driver, you could probably put them down to 1 each. Because you could have more synchros to actually have access to that way. But for now, 2 just kind of made sense to me. Really good card as well. Same thing, 2 Polari. Same sort of idea. You just don't want to run less than 2. 2 Grand Chariot. Grand Chariot is like your board wiper card. So it destroys 2 cards in the field when it's special summoned, or up to 2. It's other cards as well, so you can pop your own stuff if you needed to remove your own cards. So that's pretty good. And then 2 Serpentine, who's basically your boss monster. It's like a skill drain effect. Opponent summons stuff, he searches stuff. Really good card. And then 1 Punisher. So the other synchro I considered using was Star Eater, just because they're the only ones really accessible. Because you need the level 8 tuner and an Enchantress. I was considering throwing in a Crimson Dragon, because you can technically make it, because you use the 8 tuner and then you use an adventure token. But I haven't figured out if there's any like cool things I can do with the Crimson Dragon stuff. Because the only other synchros I can summon are level 11s and 7s. And of course the level 1s are irrelevant because they're the only level 1s in the game. But then I guess I could summon like Black Rose Dragon in my opponent's turn, or maybe Ancient Fairy Dragon. But yeah, so that's the deck that I use for Ursarctic. Really cool deck, I love it. Adventure Engine, in my opinion, is far superior than the righty and lefty driver package. It takes up more space though. You don't have enough space for hand traps. It's pretty unfortunate, but I think it's a sacrifice worth it to make sure you can play your turn out a bit better. Also, you can play through quite a bit of interruptions as well. A lot of people don't know what Sarctic does. That is an advantage. But it's a really fun deck overall, a really cool gimmick. I just love it. It's a really cool deck. Anyway, see you.